Robert Mueller. And Don McGahn, we understand, has been crucial in holding the line on that. It may be because of Don McGahn and Don McGahn only that Robert Mueller wasn't fired 1 year ago. And same thing with Jeff Sessions. So are you concerned what the absence of Don McGahn might mean?
Yes, of course. I think McGahn has been a source of imposing the rule of law on the White House. Look, I'm not defending Trump. I'm not defending his actions. I've only expressed my professional scholarly views on what I think the law is and what I think the Constitution says. I want to explain one thing. There are three kinds of privileges. The president does not have a lawyer-client privilege with the White House counsel, but he does have executive privilege with the White House counsel. And then there's a third area that's very much in doubt that the courts have generally ruled against, and that is if you are a subject of an investigation, you can have a joint defense privilege with other people. And some have tried to raise that about White House counsel, but the courts have generally ruled against them. But the president and his legal team made a decision to waive executive privilege. And I think maybe they may be regretting that decision because they don't know exactly what McGahn said to Mueller. And that creates the problem of having a White House counsel who may end up testifying against you while advising you as the president, as the incumbent of the presidency in the White House.
Professor, are you telling me that when the president tells us he's not worried at all about what Don McGahn said for 30 hours behind closed doors to the special counsel's investigators, that maybe he's not being fully honest there?
I can't imagine that he wouldn't be worried. If he's not worried, he should be worried. Whenever somebody on the inside spends 30 hours with somebody who's trying to get you, you got to start worrying, and you should have started worrying even before that happened and thought seriously about what your options were to reduce the amount of worrying that you're going to have after the fact.
David, we're going to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, look, I think what all of this portends, John, is that we're 10 weeks away from the midterms, and not much is, I think the White House is going to be careful not to rock the boat too much between now and the midterm. But afterwards, what this suggests is going on right now is that President Trump has cleared away one of the main barriers in McGahn, who would have objected to firing Sessions, especially has objected to Mueller being fired, would resign over that, which would cause a real problem. I think this is in preparation for forcing Sessions out after the midterms, bringing in someone trying to get it through the Senate who's going to be much more sympathetic to the president and would then potentially block any report from Mueller from going public, could stop short of firing Mueller, but could in effect force this into confidentiality. There are a lot of things that a new Attorney General could do and might do, and I don't think they're healthy for the country.
All right, we got to leave it there, guys.
So
10 weeks before. Alan, we got to go here. I'm so sorry.
They fire the old people, but who the new people are going to be?
We are waiting to see that.
Who replaces them?
We got 2 days before Labor Day weekend. A lot can happen before then. Keep your phones nearby, gentlemen. John D., David Gergen, Alan Dershowitz, thanks so much. Coming up, the Florida governor's race now set, and almost immediately accusations of racism on the part of the Republican candidate, a strident supporter of President Trump. So did his remarks about the Democrat, who is the first African-American nominee for that state, did they go over the line? And later, President Trump's assessment of how his administration handled the Puerto Rico hurricane disaster a day after the official death toll skyrocketed to nearly 3,000.